If you've ever dealt with ants every spring and at some point said, "Didn't we take care of this last year?" You're not imagining it. And most of the time, it's not because the treatment didn't work, it's because the conditions never changed. We see this pattern with new clients every spring. Ants show up in the same spot at the same time, and when something repeats that consistently, it's telling you something. It means the home is making the same invitation, so the ants keep accepting it. If you've been watching this channel, you've heard us talk about ticks in dog homes. How ticks don't show up because you have a bad yard, they show up because of patterns, where pets travel, where edges exist, the conditions that quietly support them. You know, ants follow the same kind of logic. They're a different pest, but it's the same mistakes. Ants aren't wandering around lost, they're responding to opportunity. And now, when I say opportunity, I'm talking about simple things like moisture, warmth, food access, and tiny entry points that people never notice. Ticks build up where dogs travel, ants build up where the house makes it easy. Here's a conversation we have all the time. A new client will say, "We get ants every spring, we treat for them, they go away, then next year, they're right back." And I always want to say this carefully because it matters. That scenario does not mean the treatment failed. It means it did exactly what short-term treatments do. It cleared what you could see, but it didn't change what was causing the problem. So when spring rolls around again, the same conditions invite the exact same result. Here's the part most people don't realize. Spring ant problems usually start in the winter, not because ants are active in January, but because winter is when conditions get set for the coming spring. Let me make that concrete. A small amount of moisture that doesn't feel urgent, like a damp corner in the basement, a downspout that empties right next to the foundation, mulch that stays wet against the house, a tiny gap you don't even notice, a pipe penetration, a door threshold where siding meets the brick, or food access that feels insignificant. You know, crumbs under an appliance, pet food left out overnight. None of those always cause ants immediately, but when temperatures rise, ants simply take advantage of what was already there. Spring doesn't create the problem, it reveals the problem. Reacting feels logical. You see ants, you want them gone, and reactive treatments usually work for a little while. But here's the issue. They don't always ask why. They respond to what you can see, not what's creating the opportunity. And if that's your approach, every spring you end up in a loop. The same loop that happens. Ants, relief, time passes, ants again, and over the years, people often end up using more and more and more pest control products than they ever intended to use, especially inside. And if you live with pets, that's worth thinking about. This is where professional thinking is different. We don't start with what should we apply, we start with inspection, because if you don't understand the conditions, you're just guessing. So we look for what's actually inviting the ants in. Moisture patterns, entry points, exterior habitat, seasonal changes, and we document what we find. Our clients receive written reports so they can see why, not just the result. Then we focus outside first, because that's where most ant problems start. And when you address them there, you usually don't need to repeat interior treatments. When you fix the cause, the symptoms usually fades on their own. And because we're a pet household too, we always think about exposure. My wife Lisa is a veterinarian and she's been practicing for over 30 years. So we align our pest control decisions with veterinary common sense. That means reducing environmental pressure and avoiding unnecessary interior treatments. And just to be clear, pest control never replaces veterinary care. It's environmental risk reduction. Your veterinarian handles medical care. We help make the home easier and safer to live in. This isn't about panicking when you see your first ant, it's about paying attention to patterns. Ants aren't a mystery, they're information. And when you listen early, you usually need less treatment later. That's how professionals think. And that's how we protect homes. If you're in Northern Virginia or Southern Maryland and want help understanding why ants keep showing up in the same places every spring, we're happy to take a look and walk you through what we're seeing. No pressure, just clarity. I'm Gene, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.